Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 1A of what is sure to be the wild ride that is Jamixiy's Tournament TWOWs. I'm your co-host, Peridot and today we'll be doing the first of 3 videos about the results of round 1, out of 5. So, without further ado, let's get started. Before we begin, I should probably explain what exactly this TWOW is about. This TWOW focuses on the theme of a bracket tournament, with all 40 of our contestants working to be in the final 2, while they'll go up against each other in Prompt 5. To get there, though, they'll have to beat their way through 38 other contestants, and that's a lot for round 1. So, for round 1, we're breaking it into 8 parts. The first being the 8 bonus matches we have to do to even out the numbers, the second being the first 8 matches on the left, and the third being on the 8 matches on the right. From that point on, we won't have to do 3-parters, only 2-parters. With that out of the way, let's show our contestants. On the left side, we have Cola, GW112, Gamerboy31, I Won't Use This 255, Cyan, TWOW Apple, Ice, Haru, Nuemi, Some Turkey with a Computer, Leopard Sun, Watto, Valzone, The Wacky Executive, YTP Fan 188, The Real Airy, Crazy Blues, Silicon, Vibroxy, and Zach Kiki Animations. On the right, we have Maglev, Edkek35, Mindflex_B, A_ORED, FML, Shadow Leafy, The Best Month, Gold Tyanox, Story, Mayaki, 4_KGS, Totally Not a Mario Nerd, Fen9999, Finn Cactus, SYD, What in Tarnation, RPDC, Justino, Hakun, and Solaris FCG. Today's video will be focusing on the 2 outermost rows, which are bonus rounds which had to be done in order to make round 1 equal. This does mean that these people will have to participate in an extra round, which does give them a disadvantage. However, they do have the option to submit new responses to the same prompt if they believe that the ones that they currently have won't be enough to beat the second round. After this, however, everyone will be on an even playing field for round 2. Now, let's get started. We'll begin on the top left, with a match between GW112 and Gamerboy31. Now for a brief explanation of how this voting process will work. In the Discord server, which you can join if you want to vote on this TWOW as well, seeds are posted daily that everyone can vote on. These will have the 3 prompts, the answers to said prompts, and 6 letters representing each answer on said responses. You then pick out which of each grouping of 2 you like the most, and then send in your 3 answers. For example, this seed got 19 votes, probably the lowest out of this grouping of 8, but it's okay. Now, let's begin with the first prompt. You compose the world's worst piece of music. What's its title? The responses to this were, My life has been an intellectual challenge since we met, and Justin Bieber's Baby 2 Electric Boogaloo. This suggests that a sequel would work in this situation. Interesting. Now, let's see which of these 2 responses all of you viewers like most. Wow, that's a close one. Gamerboy31 only needed 1 more vote to make it a tie. What would happen during a tie? I'll explain that later, because there may or may not be one. Now, let's skip to prompt 3, shall we? That's right, we don't have to go in any particular order with this, but let's see. Prompt 3, pitch an awful solution to an everyday problem. The 2 responses to this prompt were, rinse paper with oil before printing to avoid being stuck, and tired of vacuuming crumbs, just eat them off the floor. That's kinda disgusting, but also funny. Let's see which one wins. Wow! Gamerboy's response wins by a mile. That is easily one of the biggest blowouts I've seen so far. Now, let's see how he does in prompt 2. What's a completely fake but believable life hack? To dry wet electronics, just simply use a microwave. Anything is edible, however, some things are only edible once. Both of these are very interesting. Now, both of these competitors both have 1 point. Let's see which of them will move on and which of them will be eliminated. Sorry, Gamerboy31, but it does look like GW112 wins. Now, let's see some statistics on this one. There were 19 votes, meaning that each prompt got 19 votes. So, in essence, GW112 actually only got 47% of the votes, even though they won, while Gamer Boy got 56 and lost. The reason behind this was because of the huge blowout during Prompt 3, in which GW112 only got 3 votes, while Gamer Boy got 16. While Gamer Boy may have gotten more votes, GW112 still managed to pull through as the winner of this seed. Now, let's move on down to Seed 2, with Haru and Nuemi. The answers to Prompt 1 were Eternal Torment, randomly generated breakbeats confuse listeners, lacking coherent structuring, and How to Make the Best Song, 100% real, no fake. Man, that sounds like a clickbait title for a YouTube video. Let's see how it did with our 23 voters. And Eternal Torment wins. Looks like clickbait didn't quite work with this response. Prompt 2. Supercharged coils generate thermal energy. Coil-powered weaponry becomes wielding necessities. And bald heads can replace items' barcodes in supermarkets. This is pretty interesting, both of these, so let's see how they did. Unfortunately, it looks like Nuemi has lost this seed, with Haru getting the first 2 points. But let's see how the third one did. The 2 responses were Experiencing meltdowns? Gaslight yourself. The universe is just testing you. And when ice cream melts over your hands, they wash themselves. Let's see how these 2 did. Ooh, that's the biggest gap yet. Sorry, Nuemi, but Haru wins this round with 68% of the votes. Now, let's move on to the next seed. Next, we have Valzone versus Watto. 24 people voted on this one, so let's get started. The responses to prompt number 1 were, It's definitely not worth giving a title, except maybe, sorry, and The Indescribably Frustrating Silence of a Lengthy Religious Studies Classroom. That's a pretty interesting title you got there. Now, let's see how they did. And the interesting response won. With 13 votes, Watto wins this prompt. Now let's move on to prompt number 2. No matchbox? No problem. Strike it against a quarter instead. And rubbing toothpaste on a phone screen to remove the cracks. This is obviously a take on the classics clickbait life hack videos, so let's see how it did. Unfortunately for Watto, Valzone wins this one. 16 votes out of the 24. Now, let's move on to prompt 3 to reveal who wins this seed, Watto or Valzone, both currently holding 1 point each. And Valzone is the victor of this seed, with 14 votes to 10. That means Valzone got 56% of the votes on this one, which is a very slim margin to Watto's 44. Next up, we have Silicon and Vibroxy. The responses for this one contain what I think was the funniest response of this round. Like, I'm gonna be honest, when I saw this, I genuinely couldn't stop laughing for a straight 5 minutes. This could be because my sense of humor is awful, but let's see anyway. I Really Want My Mommy Funk Remix featuring My Daddy. Key spam. Musicians become bewildered. Which note's supposed to be J? Let's see how this one did. And my gut reaction was completely correct. A was much funnier. In my opinion, anyway. I mean, if you voted B, I understand, but I think A is really funny. Alright, next up, prompt 2. Shirt stained, apply potato to blemish. 10 minutes later, gone. Wires are too binding. Cut them off for easy portability. Let's see how it did. In a close 14-12, Silicon wins, beating Vibroxy in this seed. But before we switch over, let's see how they did on the last prompt. Have back pain? Simply remove cerebrum. No brain, no pain. Hate brushing hair? Buy our razor comb. Without hair, brushing's unnecessary. And Silicon wins this one as well, with a 3-0 track record. Ironically, Silicon also got 56% of the votes on this one, even though that there were a different number, being 26, which by the way is the most ever. Pretty interesting. Now, with the left side of the field gone, let's take another look at our brackets. Very neat. Now, let's move over to the right, back to the top. In this round, we have EdKek35 and Mindflex_B. My title would be All-Star by Smash Mouth Cool. And Rubber Chicken Squawking, 10 hours, max volume, headphone users beware. I would definitely not want to listen to the right one, but the fact that they said All-Star was a bad song? Whoa, that's pretty controversial. Let's see how it did. And its controversiality stuck through in its voting, with 18-5 in the 23 votes. Crazy. Now, prompt 2. If you're depressed, then simply be more happy. Termite invasion? Leave high-quality balsa outside to steer them away. The classic old people response to younger people saying they're depressed. Let's see how that did in voting. The exact same. Wow. And that means that Mindflex_B wins. But before we continue, let us see what prompt 3 has to offer. If you can't get water, defy the laws of physics. And pop tire? Just use one. It makes it really easy. Whoa! Apparently people really like that pun, with 3-20, the biggest blowout yet. And that leaves, with 3-0, Mindflex the winner with 81% of the votes. That's probably higher than it'll ever be, so great job, Mindflex. Next up, we have Gold Tyanox versus Story. Let's see how they did. My Life in a Song, and All Christmas Songs. Two very short answers, but let's see which one the viewers preferred. With 14-8, My Life is a Song won. And I don't think all Christmas songs are awful. I think mine was pretty good. Next, what's a completely fake but believable life hack? Sticking coins in electric plugs make them magnetic. That you have a chance to be popular. With 17-5, Gold Tyanox wins this round, and also the seed! But let's once again see how prompt 3 was before we continue. Super glue your shoes. Never worry about knots again. And trouble waking up early? Don't go to bed then. With 14-8, Gold Tyanox wins with another 3-0 track record. And personally, I think supergluing your shoes together wouldn't exactly work because you still have those strings to deal with. Now next, we have a very interesting round. Fen9999 versus Totally a Mario Nerd. Totally a Mario Nerd was the winner of our pre-season, which we had exclusively on Discord. This pre-season did only have 2 people in it, but Totally a Mario Nerd still holds the winner title. So that puts Fen in a tricky situation. First, let's start with prompt 3. Let's go in reverse order, just for fun. Give stuff to the Allies' shady man. Whereabouts are known. And do you ever wake up, use, what is this thing? Let's see how that did in voting. With 14-6, Fen is already losing to Totally Not a Mario Nerd. It's not looking great. With 14-6, that's a pretty large margin. Now, let's see how Fen does in the next round. Bottles and bins, stack in a hexagon. It saves space. And if you always skip school, you can't get bad grades. Let's see how those did. And Fen wins with 12-8. That puts Fen and Totally a Mario Nerd both with 1 point. That brings it all down to prompt number 1. Let's see. the soothing melodies of the talent of Yeehaw Junction, Florida, and me and my friends played soccer on a piano mat. With 15-5, Fen has beaten the preseason winner. Congratulations, Fen, and sorry totally not a Mario nerd, although this was very close, with Fen only having 55% of the total votes, and totally not a Mario nerd having 45. Now, with 24 voters, let's move to our final seed of this video, Hakun vs. Justino. Best song ever! Skeptics deny the title, making them listen, and a total mistake by Justino. Interesting putting your own name in the seed so people know it was by you. Let's see if that move worked in voting. Evidently not. With 15-6, Hakun gets the first point on prompt 1. Now let's move on to prompt number 2. Keyboard dirty? Pour Pepsi onto it. Acidity helps dissolve germs. And put toothpaste on a phone screen. Should heal it instantly. Here we have another case of the classic clickbait phone screen thing. Let's see if this did any better than the last time. Apparently not. With a second point, Hakun wins this round. Now let's see how the third prompt is before we move on once again. Losing your shoes? Tie your shoelaces together. They're together forever. And bottom caps on water bottles to make global warming worse. I don't know why you want to make global warming worse. And the one on the left does provide a better answer to supergluing your shoes together. Let's see if the audience agrees. Whoa! With a slim 12-11, Hakun gets a third point, also giving them a perfect track record. That's a really close one, although in voting, not quite, because Hakun got 65% of the votes while Justino only got 35. And those are all 8 Cs that will be revealed in today's video. Now, let's see the brackets one more time, so now we know the 32 people who will be fully competing. Well, that's all I have for you. Thanks for watching the results, and maybe join the Discord if you want to vote for yourself. I'll see you all in episode 1B.